Welcome back, guys. In this module, we are talking all about building your portfolio. So a couple days ago, we went over a media kit, which is the star of your portfolio. That is like your job resume. So let's go ahead and get into the other aspects of your portfolio. Today, we're going to go over rate sheets. So a rate sheet or a rate card is a list of your services and prices. It should include things like sponsored posts and how much you charge, giveaways, package deals, your single service prices, and image licensing, which you guys should definitely be including, especially if you're taking photos with a DSLR mirrorless camera. Having image licensing on there is a really great way to tell brands, hey, I don't just give away my photos for free. You know, not only is it work for me to post products and promote them on my page for you and bring more business in, but if you want to use my photos, I should also be paid for the time that it took me to go out, take the photos. And if they especially like them, they can buy the rights to your images to use for ads, to use on their website. So anything like that, when they see that you're offering image licensing, that is something that might spark their interest, and that's a great way to upsell to brands. So when I first started, I remember I had no clue how to set my prices on my rate sheet. I had heard something like $100 for the first 10,000 followers, and I was like, okay, I only have like 3,000 followers. Am I only gonna make like $30 for a post when I go out and I take these photos? Like, it takes me hours to do the photo shoot plus edit and do all this stuff. I'm only getting paid $30 for that? Like, what? So we're gonna go over the things that you should consider when setting your prices, because follower count is not the only thing that you guys should be considering. So the first thing is how narrow your audience is. If you have really narrowed down your audience and your niche, and you can show that to brands, that is really going to help, and that can help you raise your prices, because a brand would be willing to pay an influencer more if their audience matches the brand's demographics. Whereas if you just have a more generic audience, it wouldn't really benefit the brand that much, so it would be kind of unfair to charge higher for that. The next thing that you should look at, of course, is follower count, because if you have 100,000 followers as opposed to 100 followers, you could definitely charge more for that. So follower count should be taken into consideration, however, it's not everything. So the next thing you want to look at is engagement. So engagement can also really help raise your prices if you have a really high engagement. The average engagement rate, I think, is between 1 and 5. My engagement rate is around 25%, so that is extremely high, which means I have a very good connection and influence over my followers, which in turn is super beneficial to the brand. So if you can point that out to them and show how valuable you are with your engagement rate, that is something to consider when you're setting your prices. Another thing to consider would be the time you spend on your service as well as your skill set. So all of these things, the analytics, that all goes into setting your prices, but those things don't take into consideration the amount of time you spend on this particular service as well as your skill set. So if you're someone who's been doing photography for years and is just now getting into the influencer side of it, your skill set is going to be a lot better than someone who's just taking iPhone photos, for example. So that can be something, even though you don't have as many followers, that can be something that can help raise your prices, because that's something you can offer that others can't. So one of my favorite resources to use for setting my prices is Socialbluebook.com. This takes all of these things into consideration. It also gives you a little widget bar thing which shows you like the high end of what you could be charging, as well as the low end of what you could be charging. And you can also go in and set the services you offer, how many photos you're including in your posts, stuff like that. This is a really fantastic resource for you guys to use when you're setting your prices. You can also plug in your other handles for YouTube or Twitter or anything like that. You can plug those in and it can tell you, depending on the amount of subscribers you have, views, all that stuff, it will tell you what you should be charging based on your service. So I really recommend socialbluebook.com. I know I'm not affiliated with them or anything. This is just what I use. It's a really good resource. So that concludes my little lesson over rate sheets like we had in the media kit. The next thing you guys will be watching is the rate sheet tutorial on how to build this on Canva, what it should look like, what it should include, all that good stuff. So I will see you guys in the next lesson.